A gambling addiction simulator, Zoomer brain rot, or just the worst game ever made? Welcome to the world of RNG. Hello my fellow gnomes, welcome to another video. Now today we're looking at Souls RNG, which in case you weren't aware is kind of taking Roblox by storm right now. There's around 130,000 people playing the game right now. So for comparison's sake, if it was on Steam, it would have more players than GTA 5 being the top games on that platform. And I'd never even heard of this whole genre, if we can call it that, until a few months ago. We ran a contest on our Discord server, a sort of little casual event based on The Hunt, and someone made one of these games. Now, obviously, I've heard of RNG, random number generation, as a mechanic, but not as a game in its own right. And I was honestly just confused with this. I played Souls RNG, and there's a big map, there's loads of special effects. It looks cool, it looks a bit like a game, but there's just a single button at the bottom of the screen. Roll. Now, you click it, and your screen is filled with all the spammy text, and then that's it. I thought maybe I'd get an item of some corresponding value, rarity, like a sword, and then I would sort of use that to attack items, right? I played video games before, you know, I played boring walking simulators, even idle simulators, and grindy, repetitive RPGs. There's a gameplay loop. You know, you do something multiple times, it's difficult, but then you get another item and it improves, and then that allows you to do new things. But here, there is none of that. You're simply rolling to get rare rolls. The gameplay itself never really changes, and that's just it. There's nothing else here. Can we even call this a game? It's like you've stripped away all the actual gameplay, and you've just introduced this sort of gamification. It's sort of toxic gamification, shall we call it. But people do love it, and that's interesting in of itself. You can see I'm sat in the server here. I think there's maybe a dozen other players, but nobody else is even doing anything. And yet this game is just going to be raking in that premium revenue. So instead of making our own boring RNG, I thought, what if we take the concept of that and then actually try to add a game onto it? Let's give it a try. So into Studio we go. Now, brand new base plate, and I created a module script and tried to copy all of the existing rare items and all the data from Souls, and then we sort of have a decimal value for its corresponding rarity. So if it's a 1 in 2, then obviously it's a 0.5, and so on. And then for the larger numbers, I wanted to be extra precise and pedantic, and to get those numbers, I just used this little calculator. I'll send you the link to it if you want to use it, but just gives you those perfect numbers. But after doing all of this and getting my module script all nicely laid out, I thought, hang on, do I even want to use all of Souls data? This is kind of boring. So I scrapped it all and just started writing my own. And now a lot of the names from Souls RNG are pretty random. They've sort of got a mix of themes, but some of them feel like resources. And that got me thinking, maybe we could have more of a theme around that. Bit like Minecraft elements. So we've got items like dirt, we've got sand, we've got water, and then slightly rarer rolls for your coal and iron and such like. So with that in mind, I then got my UI set up. It's pretty basic to make this, just simple text on the screen. And then, I mean, honestly, I find this quite annoying how it fills up the whole screen, but this is what they do in Souls, so who am I to complain? Then, of course, the signature button for roll. We plug it all into a remote function, and then we do the actual random number generation, where we generate a number between 0 and 1, and then we compare it to all of those values that we have, and then that's our item. Let's see it in action. Yeah, pretty underwhelming. So I added in a couple of tweens, a little bit of transition, a cooldown on the roll bar, a little roll through all of the potential items, and a little vignette while it all happens, and that started to bring it together a little more. And this is more satisfying. Already I'm dangerously getting sucked into my own awful imitation of it. I can see how people get into this. But back to work. Now, at the minute, when people do the role, you don't actually receive anything. So next up, I made a little UI so that you could actually see what you have. And already it's starting to look a bit like an inventory system. But that gave me an idea. What if we could use our dirt and our sand and all our glorious elements and actually use them for something? So say hello to the architectural wonders of mud brick, sandbag, clay oven, roof shingle, and so much more. All the building elements you can dream of. All using these beautiful handcrafted items I've taken straight from the toolbox. We've got a little description for each item, a little icon, shows you how many resources you need, how many you have, and so on. And then when we actually have enough, it lights up and so on. So now we've got a bunch of random items from rolling. We've got a crafting system that we can make things into. Now it's time for building. We've already got 2 inventory systems basically with our role catalog and our crafting system, but now we're going to add in a third one, and we're going to add a little building menu too, so we can actually place down our beautiful mud bricks and sandbags and rudimentary wooden posts and all these sort of things. And we start to sort of assemble these little shanty houses for ourselves. It does feel slightly post-apocalyptic. It doesn't really go with the base plate anymore. Future GnomeCode jumping in here. And it's about 5 months since I started recording this thing. It's November now. Started this whole thing back in June or the end of May or something. All to say, this trend has slightly passed its peak, but we're not going to let that stop us. So this game was mostly finished. And before I abandon this project to collect dust, that is. But I want to revisit it and sort of just show you where the game is at right now. Past GnomeCode was just about to tell you about the new map he'd made, which looks a little bit like this. It's sort of a desertish kind of theme, and we're keeping to the classic vibe. And then we've got this weird floaty thing in the middle, giving it some sort of sci-fi edge. Not really quite sure what it's supposed to be, but it kind of seemed thematic. And then you may notice the text at the top of the screen, next disaster. So that was my next innovation into the game to actually add some gameplay. We've got some building, right? But we needed something to do really. And with this classic theme, what seemed to go nicely was taking a bit of inspiration from Stickmaster Luke and Natural Disaster Survival. So I added in some disasters. Let's see which one we get spawning in. Which one are we going to get? 3, 2, 1. Whoa, we get a little alert. And we've got a zombie invasion. So that's not too bad. I've got my little platform. Notice I've got some speed hacks on just to make things a little bit easier. And let's see if these zombies can get to us. I think we might be safe up here on our platform. And it looks like we've survived to live another day. But that's not the only disaster we've got. We've got a few more in here too. We'll see what we get next. Disaster incoming. Oh, it's raining numbers. We're going to get giant neon numbers fall from the sky. And if we touch one of these things or they hit us, it's not going to end well for us. Uh-oh. So this is the game right now. We've got a few random disasters in, we've got some building, and we've got our auto rolling that we need to use in order to get materials to build and survive the oncoming disasters. Please check this game out. Let me know what you guys think, and I might try and keep this thing going, build on it a little bit more. I think this is pretty fun. I want to get some players in this and sort of get a sense of what the players feel about it. So I'm going to leave a link, leave a comment on what you'd like to see added, if you think this game has a future. And let's try and keep this thing going. We don't care whether the RNG hype has died down, because this is kind of its own thing. I haven't even got a title for this yet. Maybe we'll call this Build to Survive or RNG Survival. What about that? We'll survive the RNG trend, and now we'll survive the disasters. And this next one is, uh-oh, it's the floor is lava. this one isn't going to end well for us. Our base is going to burn down, I think. Oh no, we're drowning. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Check this game out, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye!